I had a cousin who committed suicide when I was 2, and it uprooted everything. And my aunt made her daughter clean up the mess.
What?
And it was bad.
Dude.
And my dad, he was abusive. He literally, when I was 10 years old, made me watch him beat his girlfriend and said, if you don't watch, you can never come back again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Counter Cause. We are joined today by a good friend of mine for a long time, Justice Mark Russo. But saying justice doesn't really tell
Justice of the Peace.
Justice of the Peace, Mark Russo, but it doesn't really tell the full story of who Mark Russo is, right?
I think so.
You're a complicated dude, but in the best
Very
way.
complicated.
In the best way.
I've been blessed by God. I mean, God has had, you don't think, but God has a purpose in everything.
And
Amen.
you've done a lot of stuff, and you've experienced a lot of stuff. And so we felt like, you know what? Let's bring on Russo and let's just have a chat, man. And we have no idea like where this is gonna go. It might be awesome. It might be super weird. It might get a little quirky in spots.
I'll tell you, I have laughed so much just in the past 20 minutes that
Just
I have
getting to
all
know
week.
him, yeah.
So I'm excited for this.
I mean, I was promised like dad jokes. I was promised some like weird humor. So bring it, man.
You're going to get everything.
Let's go.
And again, you're going to regret it. Remember, we've been in the road. We've been in the car many times.
Yeah.
Travels. I mean, we'll always have New Mexico.
New Mexico.
I mean, that trip was the craziest trip ever.
When did that happen? That was what, 2010?
10? No. That was 2000.
Before, yeah.
2007.
I was like, I think me and Katie were dating around then. So yeah, probably 2007, 2006 or 7 probably. Yeah.
So he goes to scare me because I have a certain fear. So he goes out and lays a dead snake out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
To scare me, right?
Yeah.
His
I've got a photo of it.
His dad laughs and goes, you don't want to come this way? I go, no, don't worry. He goes, there's a snake. I go, yeah, I'm good. And I kept going straight. Like joke evaded, right?
Yeah.
Later that night, unbeknownst to us, and I know they didn't do this, but under my bed was like a 12-foot snake.
Under your bed.
Out of my bed. And just rolled across the kitchen floor.
A real snake was.
A real snake.
Oh my gosh.
I have Tourette's syndrome. Everyone is bleepity.
Yeah, Valley. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I got like foam coming out of my mouth.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we have this guy who's like 6'8", like
This was
a
the
giant of a
snake.
man.
This was
Yeah,
the
that was
snake.
the snake that he.
It's also my first Facebook profile photo. That was the only way that I could find it as fast as it was. Yeah,
That was hilarious. And so y'all were out there with an event for KTC?
My dad was doing a lecture in, was it Abilene or something? Amarillo, that's right.
With
and
one
so
of the
it was
most
us and the
boring
crew.
speakers that I've ever heard in my life.
That's right. What was tell them about that.
I don't know. We want to mention the guy's name.
Not the name, but tell them
Not
about
the
the
name.
event.
The event was a health symposium, and we were talking about health and getting married. And he's very scientific.
Mhm.
This guy dragged on for an hour, and it was so boring. I just asked to be put out of my misery. Literally asked John, I go, please. Put me out of my misery.
It's one of those that's dragging out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And it was Roby was there as well. But
Dr.
Russ
Mitchell,
is-
that's right.
Roby
That's
Mitchell,
right, yeah.
who was a great man. Just to know Roby was to love him, right?
Yeah.
He was just one of those talented guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just funny who puts her in her life. I mean, Brett, we met through a function and here we are today. It's like God has a plan for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
And just you need to know why, and you might not know why or who, but everything has, God makes no mistake.
Trust the journey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you might think you're being punished. And again, 8th grade, I was voted most likely to be the garbage man. I was voted most unlikely to succeed. Take that, 8th grade.
Yeah. What do you think
I
about
see you.
now, 8th grade?
What do you think, Miss Shoemaker? No. But you think that your purpose in everything is in punishment. And that's not what God has planned for you. I was in Boy Scouts and I wanted to be a patrol leader so bad, right? Like I wanted to be somebody.
Yeah.
I kept getting chaplain. And I was like, God, why you punish me? I'm like, why am I the chaplain?
Yeah.
But fast forward now as the Justice of the Peace and going out and doing death calls and seeing people, the number one thing is the chaplaincy. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
what?
That's cool. Wow, that is-
I'm like, the one thing I thought was the the punishment of my life
Right.
is the one thing I'm using more now than I ever thought.
That's cool.
So you think there's an accident or you think that you're being punished or you think, why do you, why am I going through this journey? Why am I getting hurt? Why am I going through these bad moments in my life?
Yeah.
God, why are you forsaking me?
Yeah. I'll take it a step further too. I think you can even experience things in life. And if you haven't seen those things come to fruition, if you haven't seen, why did I spend time doing this? It just hasn't ended yet. You just got to trust the journey.
True. Trust it.
Right.
I mean, there's so many things in my own life that I'm waiting for. Like, hey, this is what that weird thing happened for, right?
Yeah, I always equate it to you're on a highway and you're just driving northbound, like towards God.
Yeah.
And he's going to change your lane. He's going to speed you up and throttle you back.
Yeah.
You just got to let him do that. But just head north.
Well, I was going to tell you I'm a Smoking Bandit fan. I say eastbound and down. Got nothing coming.
So yeah,
I need that Trans Am and
back there
and that
song,
mustache.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he'd be a great Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
With those pecs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's working out.
I've done the stash.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I bet you look great with a stash.
Absolutely.
Just like
my
raw milk dripping off the stash.
Yeah.
My daughters actually love it. My wife hates it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Why'd your wife hate it?
I think it reminds her of her father.
Okay. All right. Well, I get that. That's fair. It's
Thank you.
valid.
Listen,
That's valid.
just get a white van and a bag of candy. You'll be fine.
so when you were in
Candy is toxic. We know that.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
I'm not bringing candy into my house.
it can be organic. I mean,
It could be raw meat too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Beef jerky, something.
Beef jerky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
organic
guys hear
gummies.
the chomps thing?
yeah,
I've had
dude,
chomps.
that was crazy.
Dude, I was literally eating
tagged you.
chomps while you tagged me
Yeah.
in it. Yes. That was chomps
Oh.
makes beef sticks. You know. this?
Oh, I know.
Okay,
they're
you know about
expensive.
that?
I went
There's
broke
like-
buying
yeah.
them.
Well, yeah.
They're not cheap.
No, they're amazing, but they just got.
I had to sell one of
they
my
were
kids'
found in-
kidneys just to afford it.
They got recalled.
Oh,
Yeah, they got like
Yeah.
a ton of them did, right? I mean, I forget like the exact.
Something like glass or metal was inside of them. Like
Yeah.
tens of thousands of bags got recalled.
He tagged me in it, and as I looked at it, I was literally eating one.
and I had just
30,000
bought a
pounds.
bag probably a few days prior.
Oh yeah.
30,000 pounds.
30,000 pounds.
Oh, that's a lot, man.
30,000 pounds.
I mean, that's-
Finding pieces of metal in their chomps beef sticks.
man.
Wow, nasty.
I'm
So
gonna make my own beef sticks.
speaking, yeah, you want to do that, Brett?
No, I don't.
it
I
can't
don't
be that
subscribe
bad.
to. I don't subscribe to the on-the-go snack stuff. Like you guys saw me today, I made ground beef patties, and I put them in the fridge.
Yeah.
I recently just traveled with my family, and I had this huge go bag of probably 10 ground beef patties, fruit, and butter. Cold butter on a cold beef patty works. And I pull all this stuff out in the plane, and people look at me like I'm an
Such
asshole.
a freak. Yeah.
No, I like that. That's
halfway
cool.
through the flight, somebody opens their curry, and I'm the bad guy.
Right? How dare you?
No, I like that. That's a good idea.
Does your wife eat like that too?
Yeah, she does to an extent. She eats very healthy. She doesn't eat as much meat. She enjoys the carbohydrates more. We tried the carnivore diet, and she loves variety.
Yeah.
And I think this goes for
Wait,
most
she eats
women.
cardboard?
No, carnivore.
Oh, I thought you said cardboard diet. I'm like, why would
Cardboard
someone
diet.
eat cardboard?
You haven't tried the cardboard diet?
New diet.
That's
It's
next.
No.
It's a 0 calorie diet.
Now, you talk about the glass. There was a guy growing up. My dad was a manager of a bowling alley, and the guy who fixed all the lanes, his name was Jerry, and he would chew beer bottles as a gimmick, and he would literally eat the beer bottle.
Oh no.
And
the
grind.
glass?
Yes.
What?
You can't guess what he passed away from.
What did? What
His
was?
lacerations in his stomach.
Did he? Really?
Yes.
I mean, I guess if you're eating glass, that's a
Yes.
thing that you should
Bad
probably
thing.
be a little
bad
concerned
parlor trick.
about.
So just saying,
Wow.
one part of the trick don't do, eating glass.
Don't
Not a good
Wow.
idea.
Don't
Well-
eat glass bottle, kid.
Yes.
You hear about like guys who like eat like bicycle parts, like have like some like weird, I don't know if it's a fetish or like whatever it is, but there
Yeah.
are people that
I-
do eat metal, and I don't know how
I
it
saw this on
vibrates down.
TV one time, and this lady was addicted to eating Comet, the cleaner.
How do you get to that?
Yeah. Like what?
I don't know.
There are just certain things in life.
I'm scared about
I don't know how you
microplastics,
get-
let alone they're eating Comet.
But these
The
things
cleaner.
about people and their health habits, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you get introduced to certain things. And I wouldn't even say that about drugs. There are just certain things I never understood about people and their habits.
Yeah.
Like cocaine, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Yeah.
get to that point? You're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea.
And by the way, it's illegal to drive under the influence of cocaine.
It is.
This is a
I'm
story
just
we
saying.
heard earlier.
Well,
Right.
but I'm just saying.
If you didn't know.
How do you get to that point that you're like, okay, this is a great idea? Like,
well, okay, I can tell you how. I think you hear enough people talking about it. Oh, bro, you got to try this. Like, man, I had the wildest night. It was so much fun. Like you hear enough of that from your friends or from YouTube or from things that it influences you to do stuff.
Man, we were sprinkling comment on this piece.
I know that's what you were thinking of. I'm more talking about like the drugs or like the alcohol stuff and everything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
People
Yeah.
just, it's so easy to hear. Yeah, not.
I didn't know where you go. I'm still thinking about it.
Try this comment, dude. It's so good. No, but like I think that you hear, or there's
like Tide
people who
Pods,
like the
right?
idea. Yeah.
Tide Pods.
But there's people who like the idea of trying stupid stuff for laughs.
No,
I had a bunch of
absolutely
friends like
not.
that growing up who do this.
No, I think we have the same friends.
Yeah, probably so.
I have
You
a
had
friend that wanted to be a human dartboard. Yeah.
See, yeah.
Was this Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
So he was literally my next door neighbor growing up because I'm from Ohio.
Where was Ohio?
Canton, Ohio.
What's his real name?
His real name is Brian Warner,
There we go.
and he had a dog. He had a Siberian Husky. So his eyes are different. His dog had the blue eye and the brown eye.
Oh, so
right?
his eyes are really different?
Yeah,
I
but
thought
not
they were
real life.
Okay. They're
It's
not.
contact.
Okay.
But that's
Always
where the idea came from. Is that he had a Siberian Husky
Oh, wow.
that had
How
the two different color eyes. So in the backyard, so where he had a fence, and then there was like a gym beam in the next door neighbor's yard. And so his dog would bark at me and I would taunt the dog. And if I remember correctly, the dog's name was Lucia, if I remember correctly. I'm getting older, so it's getting harder to remember the whole,
I get
like
that.
dog's name. I mean, there's people that you date that you don't remember the names of that. You know that
Yeah,
girl.
that
You
one
know
girl.
that one that was not so good looking. You know the one. So I would go on as like a 5-year-old. I would taunt this dog barking at the dog and do all that. And
How old were you at this time?
I would have been probably 6,
34.
Was he
34. Still doing it today.
You would do it now, I'll bet.
Oh, 100%.
Was he older than you? What was the
7 years older? About 7 years older.
So was he living alone or with like
He was his parents.
What was the
his parents? So we were kids.
Okay.
Right now, he was always like grounded. Now he is super smart, like really smart.
I heard this.
and then and like really intelligent.
Yeah.
and really a marketing type. Not brave, but I remember and I think I'm parenting. Like at 5 years old, I was running the neighborhood at 5. Like I think secretly my parents wanted me to be kidnapped or something. like I would go out in the woods and a rabbit raccoon would eat me. I think there was always hoping. Like I'm also allergic to animals. Like I'm allergic to dogs, right? And both parents buy dogs. I swear to God, it was secret things
Trying to take
kill
you
me.
out, man.
But I didn't know. I think there were things like, here, grab that electric fence and see if it shocks. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Lead paint chips, good for you. Just the blue ones are better than the red.
Keep on eating, yeah.
Like, just go out in the woods. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, I moved out when I was 14 years old. And I remember spring break, and my parents are like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to North Carolina. I didn't report for a whole week.
At 14?
I mean, like at 16,
At 16,
but yeah, 14, yeah. I mean, like I'm out running around at 14 years old, out and going to car races, and cars would break down, and I'd have to walk 2 miles to my aunt's house in the rain because we went through a puddle, and it cracked the engine block. And my friend didn't want to be caught for insurance purposes, so he made us walk home 2 miles.
Hey, I want to back up real quick with the Manson stuff. This is interesting.
Yeah.
So, did you have any contact with him? Like, did you guys ever like?
I went to a
hang
couple
out
of
or, like, get
concerts.
together?
No, I mean I did go.
No, but like back in the day, like, did you guys ever? Was there any like neighborhood functions or like anything?
No, he was always
You guys built
grounded.
that-
No, he was
okay.
like always like I asked him, "You want to come play with me?" No, I'm grounded. I'm like, he was like forever grounded. Like this kid just. But yeah, now later he looks like his dad. Back in the old days, I'm like, they don't even look alike.
Yeah.
But as he's gotten older, spitting image.
That's funny.
Like,
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a photo of him without like the whole thing.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
nothing. Yeah.
I remember there was a big rumor going around that he was Paul from that show.
No, not Paul Sorvino. No,
Rumor, yeah.
not Wonder Years.
Which let's go
And the
off-
rib
off track a
thing.
little bit. The rib
Right.
thing, this is
yeah.
crazy to me because the rib thing spread. The rumor spread before. Oh wait, is that him without makeup? Oh, dude, he just looks like.
And if you
whoever.
saw a picture of his dad,
That's-
you go,
that's funny.
wow. Yeah.
But the rib thing, I think it's hilarious because the rib rumor spread
Right.
before there was social media, before anybody was connected. You could find any kid around our age in a different school across America who had probably heard that exact same thing. I think it's so funny.
I mean,
It's funny how those rumors would spread like that.
It is.
I think he's a
nowadays
brilliant marketer.
I get it.
I think he's a brilliant marketer.
He's a brilliant marketer.
But I think anything
No
like
doubt.
pro wrestling or anything else, there are times where you become so famous, I think you start to believe your gimmick, right? I mean, it's just like, Brett, you've worked on stars and stuff. There are people that you've worked with that when they started in it, they were humble, they were cool. But after a while, they kind of become their gimmick.
Well, this is the problem.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
I think that it is the gimmick, but I also think that they are around people
Who enforce
are
it.
always telling them, "Oh, your hair, you just have the best hair. Oh my gosh, you just have such cool style." When you hear this again and again
Over
and
and
again,
over.
and it's not authentic. I mean, yes, I've been around people who have great hair and great style, but when you're hearing this over and over and over and over and over again on your good days and bad days, you start believing that.
But that's the same thing with our culture, the opposite way. Like people that were talented or great, and then people see them as competition. They go, "You're horrible. You are bad. You are stupid. You are dumb." Eventually, you too believe that. And that's
you
the
do.
thing.
You do.
Like when I moved out at 14, and then when I moved to Texas completely with no one but just a blanket and a pillow, and like literally my first day in Texas was sleeping on a business floor. My apartment wasn't ready. That moment, when you come from a culture where you are toxic, where you are not good enough, and again, people want you to believe because they want you to work for cheap, or they don't want you to leave. So they tell you that you're horrible, you're never going to amount to anything. And I got to tell you, like working for your dad was one of those people that made me feel good. And I realized I wasn't surrounding yourself with equally yoked people, like people that will build you up. And I think that was like working with you. Talented people makes you talented. When you're surrounded around people that are godly, you become godly. But when you're around toxic people, you become toxic.
No, it's contagious.
Very, very true. Yeah.
And so you don't know, but you become your environment. And I've seen it too, where people that were beautiful, great, well-funded, or just had a great life, but they move in a bad neighborhood and they become like their neighborhood because they let themselves go because Joe doesn't do it. John doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I can do drugs. I can do alcohol.
Right.
I can be vicarious.
Well, it gets normalized, and that's like the real danger is like
Mhm.
when you live a certain way and it becomes normal to not, whatever, to not eat healthy or to not take care of yourself or to not treat your friends right or your wife right or any of this stuff. It becomes normal to you, and that's when disasters can happen. No,
Yes.
That's what's
for
dangerous,
sure.
for
And
sure.
it's hard to like break out of that too.
Mhm.
It's very, very difficult, and you really got to be conscious about it. I want to ask you. So you left home at 14?
Yes.
Okay,
Live with
And-
neighbors and other people. And
didn't check in with family.
I checked in with
until-
mom. I mean, I used,
Okay.
Well, why
I mean, I
did
was
you
kinda-
leave?
unfortunately, I didn't, I had a dad that always said I was dumb and stupid.
Okay.
I had a great mom, but mom was always busy trying to chase the dream, and she's good people. I mean, cool mom. I mean, I have nothing bad to say.
What was the dream for her?
I think she wanted it to be famous. I think she wanted to make a difference. I think she's very much wanting to live the American dream. I mean,
Gotcha.
listen, when you have grandparents on both sides that are immigrants, the American dream during the 80s was a big deal. My grandparents on my mom's side were Ukrainian. And, during the Soviet Union, we were commie spies. And I was spit on, your parents talk a weird language. What are you doing here?
Oh, wow.
That really like
Interesting.
suspicion. Like it sucks because like, oh, you're not one of us. What are you doing here? That Red Scare thing.
Yep.
And then on the other side, I had the Italian side. And what you get the basic Italian reference of mob and everything else. And you get that old world mentality too. So
you were growing up kind of being told, hey, you aren't good enough. You're
different,
not from around here. You're a spy. You're this and that, like the slew of things.
Like being born, I felt like I had no chance because my parents divorced when I was 2 years old. I had a cousin, Dick, who committed suicide when I was 2, and it uprooted everything. Jeez. And my aunt made her daughter clean up the mess.
What?
And it was bad.
Dude.
And just those tragedies and those curses kind of come to your family, right? That generational curse.
Yeah. Oh my God.
My dad, he was abusive. He literally, when I was 10 years old, made me watch him beat his girlfriend and said, if you don't watch, you can never come back again. And so I was forced to watch him beat his girlfriend. I had to watch it. So I will tell you from that point, I will never raise my hand to my wife ever because it scarred me for life.
Good for you for breaking those curses.
You know, and
Yeah,
I think
no
that's our
doubt,
job,
man.
right? And then I had a stepdad who would, when my mom would leave, he was 6'4", 208 pounds, and he would beat me every time she left. So I just didn't feel good. And then I'd get on a school bus and kids would pick on me. I'm pigeon-toed, right? My adenoids got removed when I was 5 years old. So the way I sound, I feel like was impacted because of that. So I don't have a manly voice. People confuse me for a woman over the phone. I don't have that manly
So
type sound.
leaving at 14 was very intentional.
I think I left because I felt like I had nobody. I did literally feel it was me against the world. In my bathroom when I was a kid, we had that footprints in the sand where it said, God will not forsake you, he will not leave you.
Oh yeah.
I felt left. Like there was another incident where, you know, I was challenged about, you know, giving up on God and denouncing God, and it was everywhere. And I felt punished. I felt God was forsaking me. Like I felt alone. I had a teacher on my 10th grade year, or actually, no, I'm sorry, my junior year. I went into restaurant management my junior year because I was literally going to be a dropout. And I only joined restaurant management because I thought I was going to be homeless and I could at least eat every day at lunch because we had food at the restaurant management class.
Wow.
It was out of survival.
Yeah.
It was out of, you know, and growing up in an area where everyone's told you're not going to amount to anything. When you get on a school bus and everyone picks on you because you're scrawny, and then I have dandruff, I have all these maladies, my ear sticks up, my eyebrows go away because of a car accident. My neck is like a little, I lean to the side a little bit sometimes, especially when I get depressed. When you keep getting pointing out all your bad habits in life,
sure. Dude, it's brutal.
you want to give up.
Yeah.
You want to give up and you want to surrender. But there was a moment, I think I was 10 years old, and I won a competition, stupidest competition I ever won, pig calling.
Pig calling?
Yes. I didn't want to sign up for it. My mom said, what do you have to lose? I go, I don't know how to call a pig. Like I had no clue. She goes, does anyone here know you? No. All right. Then what are you worried about? And I thought it was so, she goes, the worst you're going to do is just try. And I became a state champion in pig calling.
Well, okay, hold on.
Wow, that's
So yeah.
Know about this?
Yeah,
Like, is it a
I
thing?
still have my
I know
trophy.
about it, yeah.
I still have my trophy.
That's really
What?
cool,
So
man.
can you do one?
no,
pig call?
it was so stupid. It was basically, I was a kid,
What do you do?
right? Well, basically what I said was, as a kid, now I was like 10 years old. So I was
Yeah.
like, suey, and get your butt back in the barn. And that was it. It was so like genuine as a kid. It was so
Okay.
stupid, but it was funny. Everyone laughed. But then
But it gave you a sense of purpose and accomplishment, or
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
gave
what
it
did
like,
that
hey, wait a
competition
minute,
do for you?
it was like, I wanted to back out. But then I was like, wait a minute. All I got to do is try. So now in politics and why I ran, I was like, what's the worst I'm going to do? Lose?
Try.
And it's like dating. Go up to the girl that you think you have no chance with. And luckily my wife said yes, but it was just basically like, you don't know until you try. And we are so afraid of failure.
Yeah.
Like we're ingrained that you're going to fail. You're going to do.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
This is
Yeah.
And I'm
very
like,
true.
so what are you going to do? I mean, it's like, and I think working with your dad was also like that because your dad had this weird ability. He would give you a chance to see if you, and if it didn't work, he wouldn't use you again in that bit. But he was like, let's try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your dad had this ability to make everyone that worked with him better.
Yeah.
Like his ability, it was so weird because it was like, he always found the best in people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agreed. Yeah.
And he'd go, hey, tell me what you can do. Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
And if it worked, it worked. And if it didn't, we're not doing that bit again. You know?
No, I told him one time, I was like, I feel like you lead in a way that's invisible. Like you're leading people without them really even being like feel like they're actually being led, which I think that's something special, man.
And that's why I think working was one of the most special times I ever had, because I don't think without him, I wouldn't have been able to succeed even as it is today.
Yeah.
Because I was willing to take risks because I saw a guy who's willing to go out, because just like him, they told him, no, you can't do this. That's not how it works in society. You can't go on your own to make a program work, right?
Yeah.
Like
he was
you can't
pulling
do
up
that.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, watch me.
Yeah.
And I was like, come watch me. And I
Yeah.
think that's the rebellion. And I mean, look, you've directed films, music videos, done all these things. I mean, you're one of the most talented people I've ever met.
That's very sweet.
Right? You are too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like talent breeds when you're equally yoked.
Yeah.
you bring better talent.
Yeah.
And you can see talent.
Well, and you raise up everybody around you, which I think that's like what it's about. I mean, I know me just being around like Mark, like I think more business minded. Like just in general, I don't really have much business mind in me. Like I'm an entrepreneur in the sense that I like to like think up these like ridiculous ideas and like try to get them going. But like the business end of it and the stuff that makes like sense, my wife is much better about that. But being around Mark and her, like I can tell, like I'm thinking like that more, which is cool. You're like we talked about. You are.
It's the community and the people that you surround yourself
that
with
brings you up around you, right?
Will make you better if you're picking the right community.
Exactly.
And I think that's the same way with faith, right? You know by people by the fruits, and that was always one of my things too. Is don't just say that you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Be a Christian. Right.
Sure.
Don't just say that you're a God believer. Act like a God. And
you got to be careful with that too, because like that doesn't necessarily mean you got to be perfect. Now you got to try to do that, but as we all know, everybody's going to fail.
Well, I think it's what you just said. You have to try, right?
Yeah.
Repenting is turning away.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a natural tendency to get real angry easily, you have a choice to say, or you have a choice of, I'm going to react physically, or I'm going to control myself and I'm going to act calmly.
Yeah.
And it's like acting on those feelings that you get, right? And it's repenting, turning away from that. Everybody has a choice.
And it's knowing about like what the triggers are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you got to know.
It's like, you remember Dick Van Dyke used to do those videos on fire, like he does fire prevention videos.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, how to put out a fire and stop, drop, and roll, right? I still believe in my life, the number one way how I get out of my fire in my life, stop what you're doing, drop to your knees, and then roll with what God has. Give it to God and roll with what God has planned for you, right?
I like that.
And every time, like in my marriage, I had a point where my wife, we were going through a rough time in our marriage, right? And it was not going well. And there was a moment where it was stop. And I just dropped on my knees and said, God, take this away from me. When my dad died, again, my aunt called me up and said I was horrible. And, and it was all about assets and everything else. And I just said, God, take this away from me. I don't want this. Literally the next day, I get it put in my heart, Mark, call the funeral home. So out of the blue, I just called the funeral and go, hey, do you need me? It was on my heart to call you. She goes, so weird. Your aunt's here and you're the only one. Like God put it through. But the thing is, are you listening to God at all points? Is God your purpose? And so what I'm saying is God whispers, in my opinion, or he hints to you in a way that relates to you. Are you listening to what he has planned to you, or are you doing what you want? Right? Are you doing what God has planned for you, or are you being selfish and you doing, no, I don't care what God has planned, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go through that. And I think when you surrender to his plan willingly with free will, man, he's got a better plan than you ever imagine.
Amen.
Yeah.
But you got to surrender that. You got to surrender that.
Yeah.
You can't just say, it's good today.
I feel like you got to surrender it daily too.
Yes.
Like it's
not
like
just on Sunday, right?
Or I mean, even like once it's like, I got to give it up. And then everything changes, right? It's like you got to do it daily. You have to prioritize it.
And I think
I've sucked at that lately. I'll be honest. I've been terrible about that. I was really on sort of a path where it's like I was waking up early. I was spending time with God. I was here. I was getting direction, and just life comes at you, and there's all these different things, and I get stressed. And when I get stressed, I tend to just pull away. I tend to like isolate. And it's like, dude, I've been isolating. It's like, man, I can feel it. I can feel like chaos around me. And I know what I need to do. You just got to just get up and do it. Yeah. It's silly, but
the worst thing that we can do is isolate ourselves, right?
Oh, I know it, man.
The enemy can come and attack you.
Yeah.
Real easy because you don't have community.
No, and it's like when you take something out of your life, the question is when things get removed out of your life, even habits, friendships, whatever, what are you filling it back with? And that's where I think the devil or when evil gets in or bad habits get in, is that what are you replacing it with? Are you filling it with good or are you filling it with bad? And I think that's your choice. Like, how do you accept the surrounding? What do you accept in that black hole?
Yeah.
Are you going to fill it with greed, pain, suffering, misery? Or are you going to fill it with light? Are you going to fill it with hope? Are you going to fill it with things? Are you going to tell your kids every night that you love them? Are you going to do those things? I mean, right now, I have a 14-year-old and right now, this is the exact same time I'm leaving, sleeping on couches,
Yeah.
eating crumbs, eating stale bread,
Right.
eating moldy bread, even doing poor health items. When you get poor, teeth and start to rot because you sacrifice your good health
Yeah.
because you're just trying to get by, or you're working 6 jobs just to get a paycheck because you're just trying to live.
Yeah.
And there are people that, they work 1 job, but there are some people that to get the American dream, they're doing whatever it takes to put food on the table.
So let me ask you this. How do you go from that lifestyle to becoming justice of the peace? How does that happen?
I asked myself so much because of the experience I had that, the corrupt, the people I saw bad. I don't know. I think the honest short answer is that God had a plan. And I think when I surrendered to the plan, it got better. But there was a point that I didn't think I was going to ever amount. I really thought I was going to die at 21. Like I thought I was going to be in a group, streets. That's where I thought, because 10th grade, I was hanging around some really, really bad people, really bad environments, right? Toxic. And some of them went to jail for murder and other things. They were just not good people. I had friends that died playing Russian roulette. I thought I was going to be a statistic, but I kept going through school and I went to culinary. I didn't think I was going to go to a college.
I forgot about that.
And I did. I graduated from a culinary school. Cool. I ended up getting picked up. And I remember even the administration, because to get your externships, they had placement advisors at the school. And so I wanted to go to work at the Peabody Hotel. And the admin lady goes, "You don't want this. This is not, Mark, you're going to get rejected." And I said, "Can I try? Are you going to stop me from doing?"
It didn't scare you though.
Yeah.
No.
Like you would overcome so much that the fear of rejection didn't mean a thing to you.
Look, when you look like this, I'm not going to win a beauty contest. I have a face of a fighter, right? I don't have eyebrows. I've got scars. I've got tragedy in my life. When you have nothing to lose, but you know that you've got confidence in God and a plan, I went down so far, there was nowhere else but to go up, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
Look, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to lose. Okay, I'm going to lose.
Yeah. It doesn't scare you.
It doesn't scare you anymore.
Does it
Now,
affect, let me ask you this. Does it affect how you judge in that sense? Like, do you have more mercy on
Yes, I think so.
instances?
I think I have to listen. I think that God, and I used to think it was funny that God gave me a big ear that sticks out, but I jokingly say that means I'm supposed to listen more. Listen, take time, don't rush. Look, the average person lives about, we will agree with 78 years is about the average,
yeah.
right? So that means that we have 40,988,880 minutes on average. Yeah, I did the stats, right? I did the math.
That's impressive.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can round up to say 41 million, right? That's close enough. So you've got 41 million minutes of your life. How are you going to spend your minutes?
Yeah.
What are you doing in your life? What are you doing to build God's kingdom? What are you doing?
Wow.
And I think there was a moment when I realized, are you using minutes to be depressed? Are people tricking you to waste your time? Are people trying to malicious? It's a contest. It's a race, I think. And some people don't want you to win in life. Don't believe other people's competition. But if you believe in him and you surrender to him, man, I can call you tomorrow and go, God, hey, God put me in the heart today. You're great. Thank you for being in my life. How do you feel? Feel good, right?
Yeah.
I took the time.
Yeah.
That is
I love
that's
that.
like
That's
the trick,
important.
right?
Yeah. That's
So
great.
I
That's
think
great
when you
advice.
realize how you're spending your minutes, are you spending it for God? Are you building up your kingdom? Are you building up your legacy? Or are you giving those minutes to Brett or someone else?
Hey, it's worthy.
to Brett,
Come on,
to be honest, man.
I'm just sitting over here tied up in cords.
Brett's taking all my minutes.
All your No, but what I'm saying, I mean, when you start to surrender and realize, don't let people steal your minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, don't let people force you into those moments.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandfather had one arm and he built me the coolest clubhouse. He had a claw and taught me how to shoot.
You were telling me about this. Yeah.
This guy has one arm and does more. Are you going to treat it as a disability or are you going to treat it as an opportunity to go above and beyond?
Yeah.
Are you going to limit yourself? Or are you going to or use it as an opportunity to show anything is possible through God?
That's really cool, man.
I love that. That is great
Yeah.
advice.
Right?
Very cool.
I
Are you-
love that.
So what?
Yeah.
So you got last place. Are you going to stay in last place? Or are you going to gun for first place?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are you going to let other people define you? So many times we're told, don't look behind that door. What's behind that door? Oh, you don't want to see what's behind that door. Why? Oh, it's bad. Well, why are you telling me that? Why don't you just show me what's behind the door? Oh, you don't want to know. Why? The boogeyman's behind that door. Is he bad? Oh, yeah. Well, what if heaven was behind that door? Oh, you don't want to see it. Well, then why are you telling me not to go? If I open the door, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's what we get psychologically.
Yeah.
That no, don't compete. Don't get into it. Well, if I try. So that's like politics, right? That's
Yeah.
what happened. Oh, Mark, you're going to lose. Mark,
Yeah.
but I'm going to try anyways. What's the worst that's going to happen? So I end up winning council. JP came up and people were kind of, you don't want to do that. You don't want to live that life. You don't want that. Well, what if I do?
Yeah.
And so I got called twice. So this was a weird thing that God was working. They extended the application process for JP. And a guy called me up and goes, hey, I want you to run. I said, no, I don't want to do it. 2 hours later, filing deadline. Hey, we got money. We got everything you need. Please run. No. So 4:00 rolls around. He calls back again. And I said, dude, I said no. And I look up. True story. This is where I tell you about the whisper. I'm like, wait, am I missing something here? Is God telling me something? Am I denying God 3 times? Like literally, that's what I'm saying to myself. Deadline for filing was 6:00. I make some phone calls. Fax machine at that time is broken down. I'm trying everything I can. I literally get my application in at 5:59. And like,
Minute before the deadline.
I had no clue. I go home and I tell my wife, I did a thing. She goes, what'd you do? I filed for JP. And she's like, when were you going to tell me? I go, right now, because I had no clue. But I literally did not know. And so the next day I announced at this public forum, and they go, why didn't you tell me? I go, I literally didn't know. No, you hid that from me. No, I literally didn't know. But I could see God working. Like I could see his grace and mercy.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That is cool.
That's
man.
a really cool story.
Yeah, got a very, very intense story for sure. I think it's interesting that it's like you realize a lot of that stuff about yourself as an adolescent. I think there's a tie in there with parenting. I think a lot of parents now, they don't want their kids to really deal with anything tough. They want to shelter them. And I think it's good intentions. It's like, hey, when I was a kid, I was beaten up, bullied on. I don't want that for my kid, right? That's the mentality. But at the same time, man, it doesn't build confidence. Giving them everything that they want or need or protecting them. And yes, I mean, of course, there's an extent, but I think it's good for kids to just experience stuff that's a little bit tough. And you're clearly an example of that. You experienced a lot of stuff that was tough, but it built a character in you that you have now. As you're a father now, how do you raise kids?
I mean, I think it's a little hard. I think sometimes because my job is 24/7.
Yeah.
You have to time manage. And I think like when it comes to time management, I'm one, but I always make sure that I'm present.
Yeah.
I always make sure that my kids are number one.
Yeah. But do you allow them to like deal with like hard things and not try to intentionally shelter them from things within reason, of course?
I think there are moments where, I think my kids feel safe and I talk about it. And but there are times you got to let them fail.
Yeah.
Right? You got to let them experience the pain. You can't let them not understand what it's like to lose and fail. And again, certain games with my 7-year-old, like he wants to win every time. And my wife gets mad because I won't let him win every time.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you need to learn to lose,
My
right?
wife, me, the opposite. I'm like the one who's like, "Oh, good job, buddy. You did it again." My wife's like, "Dude, stop. Like, just play the real way." I'm like, "All right."
But I'll tell you what I think, and maybe I'm wrong because maybe I'm wrong about like your dad. I think your dad was like one of those examples that I've seen with his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad had that agape love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really what I think is the unconditional love of, no, not that. Not that the love of protecting or overprotection, but I think the unconditional love, like I love you regardless.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
100%.
Like your dad had that. And like I saw that with both I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
That was like a life hack for me. Like
he was very I mean, he's around still, but he
Is he though?
yeah, right over there. He's very, very supportive. My brother and I, our passions were always to work in the music industry or film industry, and those are brutal industries. But both of my parents supported. They were at every concert, they were at every event, they were at every showing. Like, they were always there. And I think subconsciously that gave me a lot of creative confidence. I think it really showed me that, hey, like, I don't know, having them in my corner like that meant a lot. And so that's how I'm trying to be with my own children. It's like, hey, like you do whatever you feel like you are being led to, and I will support. It doesn't mean that I will just let them do whatever they want to.
You don't want to make them weak by being a helicopter
Thank
parent.
you.
It's
Thank
either
you.
you have
don't
two,
want to make
you have
them
two
weak.
options. You can protect them forever and it will do them no good, or you can make them strong and expose them to certain stimuli that either make them stronger or the other way around. And the fact of the matter is, the world is a very, very rough place. So you can either make them strong and stand there behind them and say, I'm support if you need it. Or you can shield them from all this stuff, which they're going to eventually have to face in the long run. And then they're going to resent you for making them so weak, but they won't understand
and
that.
That's the fine line. Yes, be there when you need to. But there will be times when they need to experience heartache and when they need to experience frustrations.
Well, that's when you grow.
Their own things. And
that's when you grow.
You're right.
That's when you grow, and that's when you learn. And it's important. Mark, as a Christian, how has your faith influenced your approach in your role as Justice of the Peace?
I think with mercy and grace, I think that the part is when you realize that when you look at why did Christ die on a cross, right? What was the purpose? Now, I don't think you take advantage of it. And I think we get lost because there's still a lot of burden that we have to carry, and there's still responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some people say, well, he died, that's it, we're good. No, you still have a duty to do the right thing. I mean, it's not, but I think when you realize, when you listen to others and when you go, look, I'm not perfect. There's only one perfect person. Ev, you're not it. Mark, you're not it. And I'm not it.
Yeah,
right?
it's Fred, isn't it?
No.
I knew it.
I mean, he's too close to the lightsabers over there. I mean, there was only one.
Yeah.
And it ain't us.
Yeah.
And I think once you realize that, then it's okay.
I think that's an important perspective to have as somebody whose job is to be the final judge, right?
Right.
That is not to be taken lightly.
No, I think you come in there with mercy and go, look, I'm affecting real people's lives. Like, I'm affecting their life.
Yeah.
Like when you're removing someone else or you're setting a fine, and when you're setting a fine and you're taking every penny out of their pocketbook, like a $500 fine for some people is their whole paycheck.
Yeah.
There are some people, if you're a server and you get $2.50 on minimum wage an hour, you're bringing home, if you didn't have a good tip week, $150 is your whole pay, right? Yeah. Like if you're working your whole life. So knowing that you could impact someone's life, completely uprooting it.
Yeah.
Be merciful, be graceful, and go like, hey, listen.
Is there an example? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, is there an example that comes to your mind or an incident where you used your faith in making a decision
all the time
out there in the field?
I mean, when I'm going out on death calls and just merciful, because listen, when I have to go see people who lost their parents, lost their children, 11 years old and 4 years old, or maybe it was a baby that they just had and it was miscarriage or whatever. And I'm here with the family and they're holding that baby. And you just got to, you got to kind of say, it's going to be okay. My job isn't for the deceased. They're gone. My job is for the living and to be an example, to be that it's going to be okay. Having someone that committed suicide and they lost both their parents and they're a child and now both their parents are gone, man, their whole life has just been a root because it's now probably going to be CPS or things like that. Yeah. Having kids that are going through, like I told you, with truancy, and people have given up on them and they go, all right, where are we going from here? Or having them going at a jail and someone who had no problems in life and just out of the sudden going, hey, yesterday happened. Do you have a plan for tomorrow? What are you doing to move forward? There was a moment on a bus where my life, when I was on, I'd go, are you going to go left or are you going to go right? Both roads aren't going to be perfect, but one might be a shortcut, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get where you really want to go. Or you could take a bumpier road, but the journey is going to be much better. And that's God's plan for you. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be perfect for you. Right? And when I think you get to that point of, like I said, surrendering and taking break, and I think making tough decisions, one clue I would tell you that I do is when I get on the bench, I'm always praying. I'm always going, God, guide me. But instead of getting angry, or if it gets ugly on the bench, I'll just take a break because they don't need to see me sweat. They don't need to see me struggle. Yeah. I go off the bench, take a break, take 5 minutes and go, God, tell me what to do, recompose, and then get back on that bench. Like, no one is forcing you, like I told you with these minutes and in your 41 million minutes, no one is telling you have to make that 3-second decision. No one is telling you that you have to 3 seconds.
You feel like
break.
you have to.
You feel like you have to, right?
But nobody's,
But no one is forcing you to do that.
Yeah.
It's like 3 seconds to say, I love you. Can you take 3 seconds and say, hey, man, working with you is one of the best times of my life, Ev. I love it. Yeah. But maybe you never heard that. Or maybe, Brett, man, I remember the time I met you and I didn't know that we were going to be here today, but I'm glad that God put you in my life. Mark, I just met you, but I know there was a reason.
Yeah.
Saying that stuff out loud.
Yeah.
How much did that cost me?
Yeah. Nothing.
It cost me nothing to build up and say, listen, take time and move forward.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not here to tell you what you did, right or wrong, but you always have a chance to make a difference.
Amen.
Cost
you nothing, and the investment was great.
You nothing.
Yeah.
It cost you nothing to be nice.
Yeah.
It costs you nothing to just say, hey, it's good to see you today.
Yeah.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah.
And again, it lifts
you look like you need a
everybody up.
hug.
Yeah.
It lifts
Right?
everybody up.
I love that.
A hug costs nothing.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Right?
That's great.
Sorry, man. I'm doing it like, God, chasing like rabbits through a forest.
No,
I love that.
I don't know. That's a message people need to hear, you know, particularly right now. I think so many people are just chasing down whatever, right? Social media, chasing down, trying to, you know, be famous, be, you know, influencers and all this stuff. And, you know, of course, even if it's not that, everybody's chasing something, right? What are you chasing? What voice are you listening to the most? That's what it's about.
And I think for me, it's just surrendering and wanting to listen to what God has planned and not, if you don't have any expectations, but you trust in the plan, I think it goes good. Now, what I'm saying is don't look down on yourself that you're miserable, you're the worst. You have to have confidence, right? You have to have faith. But I do believe when you know that all things are possible through him, and that's where your target goes, then you're like, all right, your attitude changes because you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But all things are possible. Not some things, all things are possible through him.
Amen.
Explain to us what a justice of the peace does, because the way you've explained it to me is there's an element of sitting on the bench and being a judge, but there's also the very dark side, like you hit on briefly, of getting the call in the middle of the night.
So it's a really cool job in the sense that you do multiple things.
It's an elected position.
It is elected a position. It's a 4-year term. We handle civil cases up to $20,000. We also handle Class Cs. We don't do jail, but we do work at the jail and we set bonds. So we do work as a magistrate, which means I can set bonds up to $3 million. We actually look at those murder cases. We look at those kind of situations. But then we don't do the actual jailing on fine and punishment. It's $500 fine-only offenses. We do truancy. We look at the kids and we work with the school districts. We do mental health. We do evaluations on mental health. We do weddings, depending if we have time, but some do more, some that make money on that. But then we're also the coroner for the county. So we're 24/7 and we get up in the middle of the night. There are times, it's only happened twice in my life where I was actually up for 72 hours straight.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, there are people that think, why are you crabby? Because I haven't eaten in 22 hours. And, you know, I'm getting hangry. And you're like, why? I go, because I went from a death to jail to death, and it doesn't stop. And
that's a good point, though. Like that's got to weigh pretty heavily on you. I mean,
at times,
seeing all of that pain and suffering and hurt, like that's definitely got to affect you.
One thing I would say is that you can go so hard and people don't know. And I think even in elected office, I think a lot of your elected officials, when you look at your congressmen, your reps or whatever, they think you're 24/7 have to be that person. well, how do I replenish? How do I, how do I
right.
recharge? Like, well, you didn't come to my event or you didn't do this. I'm like,
No.
yeah, I was dealing with a day.
So that's
Yeah.
we should talk about that. So
All right.
what does self-care look like for you? When
Great
you're seeing
question.
all of this awful stuff, how do you
Yeah.
take care of yourself?
Well, I'm really blessed that I have a really awesome wife, right? Like you got to have somebody that you trust.
Mhm.
You got to have a good friendship. You need to have like a best friend that you can talk to. My mom and my since they don't live in state, I feel a little safer telling them things because they're not here. They
Yeah.
live out of state. So it doesn't go around. The gossip doesn't come back. Like
Sure.
it's not, you have to have your circle of trust.
Yeah.
There are days where like people are, what's wrong with you? Man, I just had my worst day. I had a day where, without getting too deep, where I had a 4-year-old that their parent committed suicide and their other parent committed suicide 2 years later. I will tell you that in that car with just me and God, I quit, I think 3 times in that car ride. But you have to be able to talk to someone. I also use, confidential, you have to find your confidential sources.
Mhm.
But I also have people around
What does
me.
that mean? Like what? What do you mean?
Like
Counselor or
counselors.
Gotcha.
I think you have to be able to trust people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be able to build a base that you can talk to people and,
Yeah.
and have that base. But again, I think equally yoked friends. But I think you also have to know that when you're going through it, again, stop, drop, and roll, getting on your knees and praying. I think prayer for me and letting it all out, knowing that you're imperfect and forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to, I think that's the key is when you make a bad decision, are you able to forgive yourself? But before you forgive someone else, you have to be able to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, I think those are the tricks. And then knowing that God put you in that situation and going, all right, God, well, why am I here? Well, you're here to be the rock today. All right, I'm going to be the rock.
Mm,
I'm going to be that example for justice.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to be that example of what it looks like. You might have your worst day, but you have to put that game face on,
Yeah.
right?
You got to get that direction, right?
But I think you need to have that confidence that God will help you. And I think when you know you are strong in your faith
Mhm.
and knowing that he's not going to give you more than you can handle. And once you know that, I think that's the trick.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, it's
I
going to be
get
all
it.
right.
Yeah.
I agree. I think being in a political role, is your faith ever suppressed? Are you ever,
At times.
are you not able to express
You
your faith?
feel like that at times. But I've learned through the years that consistency, again, you can tell a person by their fruits.
Mhm.
So I think I've learned that I don't have to use my words. I show it by my
Right.
actions.
Mhm.
And I think when you're that comfort or that ear or that, I don't need to tell you necessarily that I'm a Christian.
Mhm.
I need to show you I'm a Christian.
Yeah. Dude.
Right?
100%.
And I think I can show you with grace and mercy.
Yeah.
I think but my body language
Mhm.
and that comfort and that, I think that's the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
do I want to be moved up? Do I want politics like everyone else? Do I want to? Sure. Who doesn't? I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to win? Right? Who doesn't want
of course.
first place?
Yeah.
Of course.
I think that when you lose, it's how you handle that loss, right? And I think as a judge, when you go in and you make a decision, yeah, I'm having to sometimes 2 really good people or 2 really bad people. I've got to pick the middle or do what's right or what the law says. It's not about me. It's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not comfortable. But God chose me that because he knows, hey, from much is given, much is expected, right?
Mhm.
He didn't say it was going to be a walk in the park. He didn't say that you're going to get everything you want in life.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what do you do? I mean, because going 72 hours sometimes without sleeping, you're very active in the community and your job, it's very demanding. How do you stay grounded in the faith? How do you stay consistent?
I was always in the car ride with the car on, and probably someone thinks when they see me in the car, I'm talking to myself, but I'm really talking to him, right? Like I'm praying, I'm talking, I'm going, God, what do I need to do when I'm in that car going to a death? God, what do I need to say today? I'm preparing,
Yeah.
right?
Constant
But you're
prayer.
listening to.
I'm
Your
constantly
constant prayer.
Yeah. I think when you're trained to do that, I think that helps. When you get tired, I think the other problem that we get is we think we have enough. There are times that we need to say enough's enough, and then you got to be able to tap out. You need to say, hey, I've gone too far. I'm
Yeah.
weak.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be willing that we meet. And I think our ego, We're like, no, I got this. I got this. You know, that masculinity of, no, nothing will faze me. The truth is that surrender and that admission is the part to get to that next step. You go, okay, I'm tapped.
Yeah.
If I can't do it today, what? Man, I don't got it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to submit and go,
Yeah, you do.
I'm done. I'm
You
out.
got to have the boundaries.
You have to be willing.
And you're not weak for doing that.
No, but
No,
we were
it makes
told
you
that in
better.
society.
I know.
Right? We were
know.
told you gave up. You're out. You're not
What
good
about-
enough.
Do you do any like workout routine, or is there any like special diet that kind of helps you stay sharp or anything?
I saw you count a bag of green apples.
Yeah, man, I love those green apples. Apples are good. No, I think you need to eat healthy. I think you do have to good nutrition.
Yeah.
My wife still thinks I'm never nutritious enough, and she's
Yeah.
always like, "You're not drinking enough water."
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, how much water do I need? I mean, even Hydro Man doesn't drink this much water. So, I mean, I think there are points that we need to do that. I jokingly say I work out 3 times a day. I work out of my car, I work out of my house, and I work out of my office. Yeah, I work out. No, I do think walking, I pace a lot.
Okay.
And I
But
think
you stay active in general.
I do. I think
Like,
I'm a
there's-
very active person.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of energy.
Yeah,
do.
but you know where I think that comes from though is I think when you know where your purpose is in life and you live that, I think that's where I get it from. Like I'm like, hey,
Interesting.
I don't want to waste. Again, I go back to minutes. I don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
I would rather say, hey, I have these weird stories of running in with people, making yourself available in life, like you have to make yourself available.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. But if you don't go out and take risks, like if you are shut in and you never leave your house, well, then you have no opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you shut up. God didn't take that opportunity. You willingly closed yourself in from opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember like God will give you things, but if you don't take those opportunities, that's your fault. He'll give you the opportunity.
Like the joke about the guy that dies.
Yes.
But I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. I
Yeah.
sent you all this stuff.
Yeah, but you didn't send me a raft.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. No, no. Mark, you're in Russo. No,
Yeah.
You're an interesting dude.
Well, I think so.
You are.
Well,
You are. You got a very
I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
same, man. And it's really cool to hear you've overcome a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of really tough stuff
Yeah.
too. And I mean, I don't think that that's the norm, right? Like a lot of kids who grow up
No.
around that, they don't necessarily end up as justice of the peace, right?
no, but I think you have to be available for God. And I'll tell you the story because there was a moment where everything was going on. Like I felt like the country song. I lost my dog, lost the girlfriend, lost the car, you know, all that good stuff. But there was a moment in my life where everything was going wrong. There was some video out there, people making fun of me because I was sleeping in my car, right?
Mhm.
But I was just trying to chase that dream, working 6 jobs, just trying to get by. Well, there was a moment where in that part-time, my stepdad comes to me and I was living back at home at that time. I was 22 years old. And he goes, all right, you need a full-time job or you're out of the house by Friday. And there was a moment where God said, I have a plan for you, but you just need to be faithful. Well, I did all these things. And what happened was I took a job that was only 1 hour a week. Well, that job turned into 2, then it turned into 4, then it turned to 8, and then it turned, but I had to have faith in him. And that's what he told me. Well, then that moment, when my stepdad said, get out of the house by the end of the week if you don't have a full-time job. I get on my knees and I pray. And I go, God, I need whatever you said be faithful. I've been faithful. Whatever you can do, I need you to go now. So the next day I go to an unemployment office and I go, I need a job. I have till Friday. They go, oh, no problem, Mr. Russo. Here, take this test. It was a typing test. And I go take the typing test. During the test, I couldn't focus. I was failing and I got mad and I'm on the way home or back to there to see how my results were. And they go, Mr. Russo, you don't qualify. We have no job for you. So I'm crying on the way home. I'm mad at the world. And then I get home and I answer machine, the light's blinking, you know, back in those days. And it goes, hey, Mark, it's Bill. I got bad news for you. Call me when you get this message. Well, now I'm like, what's bad news? Well, now I'm already crying. I'm like, so it's raining outside. I take my shirt off. I run out and I'm like, you know, like Lieutenant Dan?
That's what I would.
Yeah. I'm like Lieutenant Dan. I'm like, all right, God, come down here. Me and you, a mano, fight. I'm tired of you. Why don't you come here and fight me one-on-one? Like I'm screaming. I'm yelling at God. And then finally, 15 minutes later, dry my eyes. kind of, I'm like, all right. Hey, Bill, thanks for the opportunity that I got to work with you. I know you're firing me. Sorry about the black news. What are you talking about? I go, well, you said you had bad news, so you're firing me. He goes, no. Jim Albright just quit. I wanted to know if you wanted a full-time job.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What? I thought you said I had bad news. Well, he goes, well, yeah, he quit. That's not bad news to me, dude.
Frame that poorly, boss.
But what I'm saying is, that's when I realized sometimes what you think is your worst moment
Yeah.
is God moving in a direction to get you where you need to be.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So don't think that you're being
Good
punished
story.
every time, but that's your attitude,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Attitude
outlook.
defines your altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, accept the plan and don't shut out someone. If someone you might think is homeless, that's I think what we do in society is so often we assume we know who that person is,
Mhm.
but we never took the time to see what was their story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take the time to learn the story. Maybe you
That's
might
so
learn something.
good.
Don't churn someone out of your life that might be your blessing,
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
right?
That is so good.
They might be homeless now, but they may be your next Elon Musk.
So good.
Mhm.
That kid that's struggling now with the right opportunities might be the next person to find cancer,
Yeah.
the cure for cancer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The same people you see on the way up could be the same people you see on the way down.
Yeah.
But if we don't plan on going down because we're going to lift others up, lift up others.
Yeah.
Be that agape love, be that example, bring people with you,
That's so
right?
Yeah.
Lift up, don't tear down.
You're good about that.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the journey,
Mm.
not the final destination. And your final destination, that's your choice. God gave you free
Right.
will.
Yeah.
Right.
Which way do
Yeah.
you want to go?
Yep.
But don't expect not everyone's going to heaven, man.
Yeah.
Only those that know him
Yep.
Yeah.
and live for him and surrender willingly to him.
Amen.
And that's where I want to go. Do you want to go there with me? Well, we can get there.
Let's go.
Amen.
We only got to do one thing. Are you willing to do that today? Are you willing to do that today?
Tell them what it is.
Surrender. He is the way, the truth, and the life. All things are possible through him. And you can do that today. You just got to let him in. Right?
Mm. That's so good.
Do you want to use it?
You're preaching.
I love it.
Preaching, Russo. Come on, man. No, I love it, man. I didn't know what to expect with this show. I was just thinking like we'd kind of just chat and talk. But man, this has been fun.
Yeah.
This has been a journey for
This is
sure.
Really good.
It's
You got a crazy story, dude.
And we haven't even got to all the stories,
We
really.
got to all of it.
No.
Gotta come back.
No, I mean,
We gotta do round
I've got
two.
the John Lennon, the Yoko Ono story. I've got the Kid Rock story, the Joe C. fight story that happened. And
Tell the John Lennon one.
oh, no. No.
we gotta wait
No.
till next time with that.
We're friends, but we're not that good of friends. No, I mean, I will tell you that in college, everyone has college experiences if you've been in college, right? What happens in college stays in college. But I will tell you that what you might not know about me is that in college, I started the first culinary fraternity in the United States.
Oh, cool.
True story. True story. I actually went to the dean of our school and he did give me approval.
What'd
So-
you guys cook? Ramen noodles?
Man, I was a culinary. I could cook anything. But our fraternity name was Tribeca Pi.
Nice.
Tribeca pie.
But yeah, I mean, those days and living on the 18th floor and just the stories in Pittsburgh were great. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and having some Mr. Rogers stories because he used to swim right next to our school. And
That's
you'd see
cool.
him coming out.
Oh, wow.
No, by the way, he was not a Vietnam veteran. That story, we were talking earlier about gossip stories and how people,
Yeah.
and he had tattoos.
Was that a story? I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I
I
didn't
hear
know
all these weird, the internet makes up a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
And the AI, man, is dangerous.
Oh, dude. That's a whole
That's a whole other show we could do.
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing.
Russo, thank you, man.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
This
you
has
so
been a
much.
lot of fun, enlightening. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, tell a friend so we can keep on doing it. It really helps us out. We will catch you guys on the next one.